And we're live. Hey, everybody, my name is Walt, and we're going to be doing an Ask Me Anything tonight, talking about the Forgotten Ruin role playing game coming out of Galaxy's Edge LLC and Hazard Studio. We welcome everybody who's going to sit in and throw some questions our way. Just as a little reminder, we only have a couple of days left. So if you are looking to get in on the Kickstarter and support what we got going on, by all means, drop in, check us out at the URL we have at the bottom of the screen. That is short URL, all one word, .at/GuyGM. Nice and easy to remember. So tonight, while I'm answering your questions, I am also going to be working on a few things. And I figured what better way to do that than to have you guys come out and drop any questions you may have in the chat. First question, though, goes to our friend Daniel, who is the content moderator over at the Discord for Galaxy's Edge. He wanted to know, let's see what we got going on here. Internet. So he wanted to know, on a scale of 1 to potato, how many perpetual tacos would be needed to solve world hunger and free the human race? My answer to that is, hey, Sparky. My answer to that is the humans will always be slaves to their sour masters. Since the Forge can pretty much crank out anything you need, you might want to start a line. So yeah, there's the answer to that. Above the universe saying hello. Hey, we have Sinokin dropping Dr. Pepper and cucumber. I don't know what that's all about, bro. And then, of course, El Presidente. I have questions. I might have answers. So yeah, we're dropping the Ask Me Anything bomb tonight. So get your questions lined up, get them in. I'm ready. So if you got the questions, I'll see what I can do about blundering through them. Whoop. So yeah, hit me. There we go. Let's see. How does the game handle non-U.S. militaries? Very simply, the classes are kind of the same across the board. So if you're talking, say, for example, the British military, if you're talking, say you're talking the Royal Marines Commando or something along that lines, you can definitely have trooper, combat engineer, all the classes that are in the Forgotten Ruin role playing game. You can definitely use as stand-ins for those. As far as, like, if we were to look on the screen right now, so you can kind of see our friend here, the operator, is one of the classes that you can come into as you level up, because you can't really start at that. You kind of have to work your way there. So an operator would be, for the British military, somebody like the SAS, the Paras, some of the different special forces organizations they have there. So let's see. Sinokin, when does my Forgotten Ruin Emblazoned M4 arrive? That is something we should definitely talk about off stream. I know a guy. So yeah, that's going to get a little weird. Right now, Kickstarter is at almost 33,000. Yeah, 35,000. We have a really cool unlock, Thor's weapons locker, which is going to be, or Thor's gear locker rather. It's going to be all sorts of cool stuff where Sergeant Thor has run into. Second question from Bear. Since China would eventually find out about the taco machine, can we blame Eric Swalwell for them finding out? You can blame whoever you want on your game table. Hey, it's Bill. Hey, Bill. How do you plan to keep the dangerous nature of the ruin with its 5E implementation? Well, we have a pretty cool converter who's well versed in fifth edition, and we are pretty confident that he understands the material. This guy is like the number one super fan for Forgotten Ruin, and he knows 5E pretty well. So. He understands that this place is supposed to be dangerous. It's supposed to be a cautionary tale about why you should never venture too far away from supply lines and what happens when you do not do a proper reconnaissance. So, yeah, definitely the that thought is front and center of Forgotten Ruin as it plays out in 5e. Um, can you give us some cool examples of the stuff that might be found in Thor's weapons locker supplement? Absolutely. Would love to. Um, First and foremost, of course, we have the anti-material sniper rifle that we've all come to know and love. And that would be, yep, you guessed it. That would be Mjolnir. So Mjolnir is definitely going to have that boom boom kick that we've all come to know and love in the novels, which is it's just a Barrett light 50. So it's one of those things that you're definitely going to see in the ruin going forward. There's also you are going to see all sorts of gear. So we have lots of stuff planned in regard to the gear. For example, you're going to have all sorts of different drones, specialty explosives like the acetylene style bottles that were seen in the third book of Forgotten Ruin. You're going to have specialty vehicles that have all sorts of goodness that can get cranked out. Like, for example, the JLTV, which is the Army's newest iteration that they want to replace the Humvee with across the board. They've already done this pretty much in different areas. But one of the things right here, we have a gunner's turret on the top. However, one of the things in the gear locker is obviously the Crows system, which is the crewman remote operated weapon. You basically sit inside of your truck with an Xbox controller and you're just slinging rounds with a 50 cal. So it's pretty cool. Third question from El Berzidente. We Oh no! We did you really trademark that? We know cope cages are really not good against javelin missiles. How well do they work against goblins? um, Probably not so much. Although, if you're talking about something like a striker, um, you're not going to get a goblin through a striker. Most likely, those guys are going to swish. So, yeah, there is that. Can the Forge crank out coffee? My answer: the Forge can crank out everything. Um, if you have not seen if you have not seen the Forgotten Ruin playtest that is on the old school D&D YouTube channel, Sparky plays the character of Bren Villanueva, the Air Force designated marksman. And does Bren's mustache get an entry in Thor's weapon locker? It does now. Let's see. Accidental King. Will different units in the U.S. military get different bonuses or benefits like the Rakasans versus Big Red One? That's a great question. In fact, I haven't even considered that because what would be a great mechanic is bragging rights. Like, for example, 82nd versus 101st, Rakasans versus Big Red One. Different units having different benefit would be kind of cool. The 82nd would get a discount at the Class 6. The third ACR would probably get a discount on motor oil. But yeah, it's that's a good idea. I am definitely going to write that down in my official Doomsday Squad notebook from Galaxy's Edge. And I am going to write that down because that sounds fantastic. That sounds like a great idea. Let's see. Above the universe. If we don't make the stretch goals, are there plans for those to be added later as additional content like DLC for video games? Also, something we've talked about. We definitely want to support this as a line going forward. It is going to be your game, and we want to support your game. We already have a good chunk of House of the Red Serpents written. Yeah, that adventure will at least be seen going forward. It just won't be seen immediately because it won't get funded, most likely. But we don't know that because we still have a bunch of days to go. So tell your friends, tell your enemies' friends, see what happens. But also we have Nick very much wants to do a source book for the Ruin. So maybe we do another Kickstarter than that. I don't know. You tell your friends. So yeah, let's punishment 90. Hey man, will there be options to play as an Indig that join the Rangers to help like the dwarves, the Shadow Elves? Yes, yes, and yes. So it's not in the playtest document. One of the reasons that we made the playtest document the way we did was because we wanted this playtest to kind of get people into it to be as simple as possible. If we load this down with a bunch of like rules all over the place, suddenly everybody's like, oh man, I stopped at page 35 because like the rules were killing me. Instead, short, sweet, to the point. You guys have just enough so that you can sit down and emulate the novels at the table and make you hungry for more. So, but in the playtest document, we have in where is it? It's over there. And never mind. In my playtest document, there are rules for using um, the characters that are from standard white box in your games. So, like for example, if you want to play a fighter, if you wanted to play a dwarf or an elf from one of those different clans, if you wanted to play a magic user straight up and just like Vandahar stumble on these guys and be like, oh, these rangers are amazing. I'm going to help them stop the evil, or these rangers are amazing. I'm going to trick them into helping me commit the evil, right? There's tons of there's a rule mechanic for using those at the table and adapting them to Forgotten Ruin. So at the end, Vandahar is like, well, I wanted to throw a fireball, but Carl G don't care. Let's see. Archangel. How are you all handling flintlocks, muskets, seeing as the tech breaks down after a while? That being said, how are you handling weapon tech degradation? So if you look at the book, if I can get to it, I will bring it up. Getting ruined. It's in here somewhere. So there is, it's in the beginning, right near the equipment. That would make sense. It's almost like I wrote this. So there is a mechanic for things getting ruined. And we say that because, that's basically the kind of the thing behind the whole thing. So the idea is after a while, things break down. They break down because there is the nano plague in play, and it's just the way it is, especially in the stories, especially in the novels. Everything breaks down. So without a forge, you were going to be reduced to those ancient ash kit. So in it's on page 29 of the rule of the current playtest rulebook, the almost 100-page rulebook that you get from backing at a single $1 on a Kickstarter. So the failing, which the Rangers have lovingly nicknamed Murphy's Revenge, and there's a couple of different things in there that allows you to simulate that at the table. So basically, every play session, your gear as a total kind of makes a roll, almost like a saving throw, and as those play sessions continue, that roll gets considerably lower until there is no avoiding this piece of kit breaking down. Now, we originally thought that we were going to put the rule that simulates something like Mjolnir, Sergeant Thor's sniper rifle, into the game. We were going to put that in Thor's weapons locker, but we might just put it into the main rule book where certain items become immune to the failing, immune to being ruined, and that is done through a process I will not discuss because I will not spoil the books for you. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Oh, cool. Can I create my pre-gen characters in Indig? Absolutely. So above the universe, if you wanted to take a fighter or any of the old white box rules for if you're using the white box rules, if you're using 5e when those rules are complete, and we can get those over to you. We'll first get them over to you in PDF, and then if you're ordering a hard copy of that, we can go from there. But yeah, you can start off as fighter, magic user. You can start off as a cleric. If you're going full 5e, then of course any of the classes in 5e. And then there are going to be mechanics for you to have the ability to train up so that your wizard can use a Glock, or your dwarf can use a breaching charge to go in at a bunch of orcs. So absolutely. Get the Rangers to summon Cthulhu. No, I can only handle so much. One Trick Pony. Hello, Walt. Just finished Lay the Hate. Yes. What a great book. No spoilers. What the? Starting the Book of Joe tomorrow. Any word on the artwork? We have a stable of fantastic artists lined up. We crossed the stretch goal that allows for additional art. So we're really going to pretty this up. We're going to have a design meeting at the end of the week, very close to the Kickstarter's finish. So I'll have a little more information for you there. But as of right now, the initial plan was to have the interiors black and white. And then the cover, obviously, we were going to just smash it with a really great color cover. There were some ideas thrown around by some people that we're talking with that they wanted to do. They suggested like do all of the standard pictures color, but then when you do like an intel report for the Rangers, drop down by the Baroness. If you know who that is, if you've read the books. When you get one of these intel reports, those pictures could be in black and white, kind of like to offset them from the regular illustrations. So that sounded like such a great idea. So I'm really digging it. We'll see what happens when we drop that. And you're also saying One Trick Pony is really need that company departure pick too. Yeah, kind of like the shots that a company size element, a picture that a company size element will often run. To say, hey, this was us before we went and got shot at. So kind of like a picture of, hey, this was us before we went through a quantum tunnel through time and fought orcs. So yeah, so keep those questions coming. If you got them, throw them at me. I am going to, while we're talking, I'm going to work some magic on getting. I think I'm going to put a vehicle together while I'm talking to you guys. Let's see. Given the compatibility of the system, it shouldn't be much of an issue to start in, let's say 1944, and have a company of SS or others transport into the ruin with mythical Bell device, right? So I have my mini like OSR library here. If you want to do that, take our Forgotten Ruin playtest document, mix it with this. This is Pete Spawn's Operation White Box. We worked heavily with Pete to get this out, to get the playtest document together. We had a lot of questions for him, and he's an amazing dude. And if you want to play your World War II version of Forgotten Ruin, I suggest using both books because while he's got the World War II aesthetic military in here, we have all of the rules for being ruined, ruined paths and advanced paths, stuff like that. So yeah, if you definitely want to do something like that, I highly recommend it. Let's see. Are small drones going to work like a familiar in 5E? Oh, that's a great idea. I am going to write that down. Um, excellent. 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 That's a couple times, Archangel, you've thrown some good stuff at us. Um, let's see. Where'd he go? Let's see. I'm so ready to start my game. Blackguard Solutions is ready to murk out in the magic land. Yeah, you had mentioned about the Merc campaign. That would be awesome. Will other MOS such as JTAC or Fisters be available, or those, or just the Trooper, or considered standard infantry? Nope. The JTAC. I don't know about the Fisters. The Fisters would probably be like a part of the Scout class. We're going to be releasing the Scout class either middle or end of the week, and that'll cover your Cav Scout because we have to. Yeah, if you follow Nick Cole, you know why. We have the Scout class, and that'll probably be dropping mid end of the week, and that'll cover your Cavalry Scout, stuff like that. So that's where the Fisters will probably line up. The JTAC guys, combat control guys, now the special reconnaissance guys, which were formerly SAU-T. So if you were a special operations weatherman, yeah. All that is now encapsulated into Air Force Special Reconnaissance Group. And yeah, those guys are all operators with certain training packages in play. So like the JTAC guys, they'll have the training package that allows them to call in like close air support. The combat control guys, they'll have stuff that deals heavily, almost like the Army's Pathfinder stuff. So yeah, it's definitely stuff that we've considered, but you don't need a separate class for it, because basically all these special operators are different flavors of ice cream. They're all ice cream. It's just, do you want the guy that has chocolate chip cookie dough, or do you want mint chocolate chip? Let's see. Nah, there will be one so T dude left. Yes, there has to be. Yeah, especially if there's going to be a video series coming up about that. So yeah, we're gonna let's see. I'm gonna share my screen so you guys can see what I'm doing. If you have more questions, by all means, hit me up. All right, so get my layout program, go like that, so you guys can see. I'm gonna pop that there. There we go. So that's the JLTV. It's the new Army Joint Light Tactical Vehicle. Yeah, I don't know. It looks a little tight. Let's see. Any thoughts about stories, considering the other flights that came through and ended up arriving way earlier? As far as One Trick Pony, is that as far as like game mechanics, or are you talking just do you want supplements covering them? Like, are you looking to get a supplement covering or detailing the different flights that went out? Let's see. Who gets to be the chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream? I don't know, man. You know my flavor. Um, uh, Books and games. Well, it is very possible that we could do a supplement, like an adventure or something like that, that would detail, or maybe even a mini campaign that details one of the other flights going through. If you want something like that, yeah, put it in the comments. As far as the books goes, we have a writer on board that is going to be doing the Delta Kings. So if you read the very first book, and I really don't want to spoil anything, but there is a tomb of soldiers, and those soldiers came through, were part of the deployment of the same deployment that the Rangers into the Forgotten Ruin, and those soldiers came through much earlier. So there is a planned series that takes place centering on them. So yeah, absolutely. Da-da-da. Oop, where'd it go? Will more schools be added, such as Rappel Master, Scuba, Seer Training, or is that covered in the operator class as well? So, Accidental King, I believe it is in an earlier update. I think it was in update 11. Yes, update 11. Update 11 had operator training for Combat Diver 1 and 2, and then the open training for drown proofing. And that has rules for kind of like swimming, water, drowning, um, coming up through what do you call it? Regulated distancing. So you coming up and taking breaks as you come up so that you don't get the bends. If you go to, if you're a backer, because this is a backers only, because it's got game supplement stuff in it. Share screen. We'll go there. You go to the dangerous when wet. It's update number 11. Scroll down and it goes into the operator training for Combat Diver 2, drown proofing, which is the open skill for people who are not rated to go to Combat Diver. So yeah, that's all in there. So Seer training, we have it, and it just hasn't gone into the book yet, or into the playtest document yet. Like I said, it's one of those things where we wanted to give you just enough to get playing right away, and then once you guys are kind of comfortable at the end of the Kickstarter campaign, you're going to get pretty much the book going forward, and it's going to be really really cool. Rappel, yeah, is definitely in there. Rappel's in there already, or a version of Rappel is in there. So there's an air assault course that you can take that allow you to be a Rappel master. If you're just looking for the open training for regular Rappel, that's going to be going in as well. One trick pony. We need a guy like Hoot. Well, as far as the novels go, the Delta Kings is going to be covering a special operations group that went through much earlier than the Rangers, and you might have a hoop in there. Um, so, Archangel, sorry, I haven't read the rule book yet, so forgive me. No forgiving necessary, dude. People get busy. But how does the ruin reveal in the operators? Is that the GM discretion? So, are you talking operators in general, or are you talking about how do you know who becomes an operator? Hit me up in the comments. Punishment 90. Can you give us a sneak peek on the rules for enchanting forge made gear? Does enchanted modern tech stop the degradation? So there is no plan as of right now to enchant modern gear. That is just not factored into the novels, so we didn't factor it into the game. If you want to print out and enchant an iPhone, that's on you. We hadn't planned rules on that because the Rangers in the books didn't really do that, and it's not. It just wasn't factored in. The same thing for magical metals and all that, like adamantine and mithril and all that jazz. There wasn't. There wasn't. It's not something that's factored in. So a lot of the times when we're dealing with the forge and doing the forge stuff, um, it's a matter of kind of like keeping it mundane. So like no fantasy metals, no fantasy mystical gear. It can't print magic. It's kind of it's almost a limit on what it can do, in that it needs a blueprint for stuff like that. And if you don't have the blueprint, then but there's no rule against in your game having something like that at the table, house ruling that at the table. That being said, there are rules for certain things that are not ruined, but they in the ruin itself, they get revealed that they're not magical, but they might be associated in a quasi mystical way, so that the enchantment, not really enchantment, but like its nature, stops the degradation. Number one prime example: Thor's gun. His sniper rifle, the Barrett, it doesn't break down. It it's almost like an extension of himself. So those rules will be in there. Stuff like that. If you want to enchant Forge Made gear, I would say give it a heady saving throw, and give it the ability to almost resist that enchantment, because you were talking about two kind of worlds at odds with each other. So, but that's something we can definitely look into. Absolutely. Let's see. We'll go like that. Accidental King, all for an E4 Mafia book, just doing a bunch of shady dealings. That would be awesome as a side story. That would definitely be. What about a Locust droned MH6? Um, if you can fabricate the drone module, sure, why not? Anyone meaning develops magical abilities like the chief being a cleric or talk? Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. All those rules are in there. So let's see. We'll go back to the book itself. It's right there. So there's a couple of different ways you can do it in the book, and the GM is encouraged to kind of pick what works best with his table. Option one is to have the ruins. The ruined rules uh, titled, the section is called The Ruin Reveals, and that starts on page 52 of the rule book, currently in playtest and available for a single dollar if you go to our Kickstarter. So yeah, so there is a let me put this off to the side so that you guys can see it. Nope, that way. Maybe I'll figure this out. There we go. All right. So on this particular section, there's a couple of different ways that the OC, the observer controller, the person who is responsible for running the game, there's a couple ways that he can do it. One is very story driven. So like he decides that one character or another gets ruined. It's often advised to talk to the player first, and say, hey, look, this is what I'm thinking about your character, blah blah blah. And then over a series of missions, have that transition take place. That's what we did in the playtest. It worked really well, and if paced correctly, it made for a pretty intriguing story as weird stuff started happening. There's a couple of another way to do it is to have it be a total surprise. The OC can roll it, and we have this cool table that's right here that allows them to roll. Right now, this is a small cross section of getting ruined. So, for example, you roll that particular session, 1 to 4, no effect. Number 5 tells you to roll during the next session, and number 6, the character is ruined. So now you have to determine how they're ruined and what starts happening. So, but yeah, and then it goes into talking about the nature of being cursed in the ruin and so forth and so on. So it's actually it's pretty comprehensive in how something gets ruined. Let's see. More questions. I assume this is talking about magical items. Sparky says, I don't think the Forge could make such things since it's not in the library it comes with. Now, maybe if you could find a Forge tech to program it, which is a good idea. The +1 iPhone of spell storing. The customer service on that would be terrible. Uh, Save versus autocorrect or screw versus spell. And One Trick Pony talking about the E4 Mafia. First rule of E4 Mafia is there's no talking about the E4 Mafia. You are correct, sir. Sonokin was hoping to get a keen 50 caliber of ogre slaying. Very possible. Let's see. So now they're talking about magical items and stuff like that, which is pretty dope. That's exactly how you want to do. So yeah, I'm going to start. If you guys don't have more questions at the moment, I'm going to start messing with this truck and putting this truck together, which JLTV, Joint Light Tactical Vehicle. Let's see. Will there be? Whoops, wrong one. Will there be separate books like D&D has, like a DM's guide and the player's handbook? So we wanted this to simulate the experience that some of us had with dealing with having to drag a whole bunch of rule books. I mean, imagine like all that section of orange in my bookcase, having to throw that in your sea bag, when you're going on a long deployment overseas or something like that. It's just not, it just wasn't practical. So we were trying to get everything into single book. So, and it, with the page counts that we're seeing right now, depending on art and stuff like that, single book does not look out of the realm of possibility. So very, 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 very possible. Going to vehicles. There we go. So, but yeah, so the idea that we're going to split it into different books. The only thing we might split up is something like Thor's Gear Locker. So let's see. Will characters from the books be statted out in the books? Something we've talked about. It's very tricky. We might do that in a separate supplement and not put it in the main book. And for one important reason only, we don't want to spoil things for people. So if you know that Tucker has a psionic ability to charm female monsters, which he has done on a couple of different occasions. I'm not saying that that's part of his actual powers. I'm just saying that if we put that in the book, and later on you're reading Violence of Action, where he's got to go, kind of play around with a female monster. You're going to be like, oh yeah, this is where he just uses his psionics. So we don't want to spoil anything for anybody. So we're kind of thinking of separate book for that. Where to go? You including mechanics, stats for working aircraft, Little Birds, Blackhawks, or Rainer A10. Yes. The vehicle section was intentionally left out of the playtest document. There is a kind of like a slight alteration of the base mechanic for combat in dealing with vehicles, because you could potentially end up with a multi-person aircraft or something like that requires more than one operator. So it's not just everybody taking the turn and pulling the trigger. So we wanted everybody to get the base combat mechanic down first, which is fairly easy. The vehicle mechanic is fairly easy as well. However, there are some things in there that throw things off, like different levels of maneuverability. Now, we're not talking like first edition D&D levels of maneuverability, but like an A10 versus a Harpy. If you're in an A10 and you're making a strafing run and all of a sudden you get attacked by a Harpy with God knows what, maybe she stole one of your Carl Gustavs and is going to go like Battlefield 2042 on it. But the size difference and the maneuverability difference will be very mismatched. So there's a mechanic for handling that. But yeah, we have them. Let's see. Any more questions? Let's see. So in this game, everyone can see all the stuff, but the GM is basically a story guide, and the missions are fully player character driven. Yeah, pretty much. El Berzidente, thank you for confirming that elves are monsters. Finally, somebody admits it. Hey, man, gnome lives matter. Any plans on more mature books in the future that include cursing or more violence of action per se? It would just be nice to hear the F word once in a while to simulate the military experience. You need to check out Peter Nealon's The Lost series. There's a couple of F-bombs in there, and rightly so, because, oh my God, the curses in that. Not curses as in he's cursing and swearing, but curses as in like this thing is trying to rip this man's soul out of his body. There's some swearing in that. And then I think there's a couple of choice words in the upcoming Doc Spears novel, Warlord, which is a special forces team, maybe messing around with John Carter of Mars. So yeah, there's that. let's see. I need to have a picture drawing of them. Talker Tanner Monroe before and after. Hell yeah. Um, Sparky saying the F bombs are applied in the books. Damn straight. Let's see. We're gonna go on some more stuff. Gobbin ain't easy. You ain't lying, bro. Do you guys have any favorites? Any favorite characters you would like to see in our character supplement? Put it in the chat so I can see it. Control new. So boom. What do we got out there? Nothing yet. Cool. All right. I'm just going to black and white this noise, and then I will put it up on the screen, and then you guys can see it. Boom. So yeah, loved. We did a play test the other night. Sparky, Sanokin were in it. Um, we had El Presidente has been in quite a number of our playtests. Yeah, we had a playtest where they were driving in a joint, the JLTV. It was pretty dope. So I am looking forward to seeing more vehicular action in the book. That'll be dope. Go there, range, send it back. So let's see. Smadge is bro Captain Knife Hand in both forms, and of course our boy Talkers. Yeah, the Smadge would be really cool to have a picture of. I have my vision in the head of what he looks like. Captain Knife Hand, of course. Yeah, and then of course Talker. Let's see. So this isn't Ask Me Anything. Why haven't you shaved today, Walt? Why? You trying to get Sparky on Sparky level? There may or may not have been a tree cutting service in the neighborhood today, and they may or may not have been setting off my dogs at an atomic level. So yeah, no razor. Let's see. I saw that stream and I was like, they get trucks? We never got trucks in our game, Walt. We had to walk 15 miles to kill a single orc. Yeah, that game was fun, man. They had those trucks, and those trucks were dope. He had he put his 240 Bravo on top and just went to town. It was pretty dope. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having those vehicle rules in just for the sake of But the thing to consider is with vehicles, vehicles you got to kind of be a little weird with, because aerial vehicles aren't going to have as much problems as ground-based vehicles, except for you're just flying around and doing like a reconnaissance and a little bird, and all of a sudden a rock, and that's ROC, a giant basically nightmare bird comes out of nowhere and just like mollywomps your aircraft. So yeah, that might be a little bit of a problem, but it's not going to be as constant as the problem you're going to have with, say, driving a JLTV, because roads, unless you're near a major city, are non-existent. So if you end up in an area where it's just all woods and stuff like that, you're going to be going at a much slower rate. You'd probably be better off going like 12 strong and just riding horses. So yeah, definitely. There's definitely some things to consider when you're dealing with that kind of stuff. JPEG. JLTV. Yeah, I can type the words. Cancel. So I will get to your questions in one sec. I just have to convert the background on this one image for the truck. And JLTV. And we'll get this going. All right, let's see. Questions. Rules on Article 15 or corrective action and the effects on characters such as psychological damage or points of exhaustion. So, for those watching the stream who don't know, Article 15 of the United States Code of Military Justice um, represents non punitive punishment on behalf of the soldier. So, for example, you show up to formation late. Um, you could lose a rank, you could lose money, you can do extra duty. There's all sorts of nonsense that can happen. So, I think that sounds like more of a role playing opportunity than it is something else. So, yeah. Um, I know Nick is playing Elden Ring, the poor guy. Did you start it yet? No, I do not have time for new video games. Uh, doing my work for the boys, Jason and Nick over at Wargate Books, and then um, doing the stuff that I got to do in the various points and factors of working that side of the house. Right now, no time for video games. Let's see. Um, uh, are you talking about that big A55 bird thing from Avatar? Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Big ass bird. Yeah. A rock is from originally from Middle Eastern mythology. I believe it was in Arabian Nights, and it is a giant. It looks like a giant black bird, almost like a crow, but it's enormous and it's extremely predatory. Um, so much so that in the mythology, it would carry off cows and stuff like that. Um, Archangel saying Smash is Sam Elliott from We Were Soldiers. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Um, Sparky 68. Walt has time to collect video games and not play them. Oh yeah. Going back to muskets. So in the books, because somebody had asked about muskets earlier, in the books, the tech level that you see in Forgotten Ruin that everybody else is forced to use is pretty much a little past Bronze Age, right around that noise. So you can create or build a blunderbuss or an arquebus or any of the old flintlock style black powder rifles. Creating black powder obviously is not a modern invention. It's been around for well over 1,000 years. Um, but anything with gears or mechanisms that are far advanced past certain levels will start to break down. So I would say use your best judgment. I would probably say that if you had the formula and could do an arquebus or a blunderbuss, then yeah, that's cool. But hey, we'll see what happens. Let's see. War weapons. I love your screen name. Will there be rules in play to give benefits to teams working together? Maybe AGs with a small bonus to gunners, etc. There is. It's in the rule book already, and there's open training packages that allows for when you're an AG or your heavy weapons squad, or you're using crew served weapons. Yeah, so when you work together and everything's rolling good, there are bonuses to that. The opposite is true if you're going the other way. If you're a problem and you're acting more like a kickstand than a wheel, then yeah, you're going to have problems at the table when operating those weapons. So yeah, it's definitely a thing. There's also different levels of working together, so that you could end up you could end up working with a different unit. And as such, if you work well with that unit, like if you have a specialist with you, and specialist is kind of like the support role for the special operators in the book, he can actually coordinate units to work together really well. It's pretty dope. So yeah, got a couple more questions. Hit me up. Hit me up. We got a few more minutes. We're going to cap this out at about an hour. I really appreciate everybody coming out. There was a lot of people here for a little bit, and it was very cool to answer some of these questions. I just hope I don't sound like a rambling idiot. You know, is what it is. But I am putting together a table real quick. And that table will allow me to build this vehicle. Copy, paste. And then I'll be able to show you guys on screen. Range, send it back. Let's see what we got. Do you guys have a Discord? One of the Kickstarter backers actually put one together. I will get you that link right now, and you can jump in there and check it out. Invite people, copy. So yeah, you can check it out. We actually don't have an official one, but this one's pretty good. So yeah, there's the Discord link right there. I don't know if that's the official one, but that's the one I found immediately. So there it is. So yeah, come in, talk. Right now they're making fun of me because yeah, I'm answering questions. I'm putting it out there. But yeah, you should set up the macro. I should do a lot of things. But yeah, if you want to come in and talk about it, like I said, Punisher M249 was the guy who set it up. He built the Discord and got everything going. And then, what do you call it? He's got a bunch of different sections set up. So we got the Perpetual Taco general channel, the Forgotten Ruin books, the RPG, the Sergeant Major's Coffee House. There's the seedy Vegas hotel room, and that I assume is for the that's for the guys going to Vegas, because there is a slot in the Kickstarter. And that yeah, that's the thing. So let's see. Stars. Oh, did you try and put a link? Punishment? Yeah, it won't let you put a link. If you send it to me, send it to me on Discord, and whatever it is, I'll put it up on the screen for you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you tried to put a link, but yeah, Twitch will cut out anybody but me putting the link up. So, but yeah, if you want to give me the direct link, just put it up in the thing, and hey, Accidental King just joined. Yeah, all good. So let's see. One Trick Pony. Who are you with in the Army? As a very young man, I went through the pipeline, and I played with 375 for a little bit. I got messed up after a little bit, and then I went to 3505 82nd, played all throughout the battalion in there until they disbanded my battalion and reorganized the 3rd Brigade Combat Team. I had a 10-year break in service because I wanted to do the civilian thing, and I was working in comics, and I started up a role-playing game company because I don't know, maybe I was bored. But yeah, for a while, I got to travel all over the world as doing some contract stuff, and then I then went to after about 10 years, my wife lost her mind and decided to join the Army. So I jumped into the National Guard with her, and I was a National Guardsman for about 10 years, somewhere around there. So yeah, it was it was not a straight line from my military career. It was all over the place, but jumped out of airplanes, got to play with some dogs, shot the big boom, did the thing, got the scars, came for the tacos, left with the scars. Let's see. Let's see, One Trick Pony, 1-3 ACR for Carson. Oh, right on. 1-1 Cav Germany, 5-7 Cav 3 ID FG. Oh, nice, dude. Nice. Did you cross the pond? Did you get to play with some of the stupid over in the dust? Let's see. Any disadvantage debuffs to ELR shooting? I know dice is a big thing, but will there be any set of parameters for, say, 1,000-meter shot that's hardwired in the root? Yes, yes, it's already in there. So if you're doing extreme long range stuff, yes, it's in there. So you as you increase in ranges, the difficulty increases, um, and then there are certain grades of character. Like for example, if you're playing the sniper, a lot of that is offset by what they can do already. So they're not so much worried about that extreme long range. They're more worried about stuff like um, Coriolis effect and deviation, delineation, windage, barometric pressure. It's not so like math driven as that, but it definitely comes into play. So extreme long range for a DRM is or squad designated marksman, all those guys. Those guys are those rules are in there, so you're going to have that. So One Trick Pony went over 3 times. Ooh, we should swap some stories, dude. Grab a coffee and go. So yeah, we're getting close to the hour. So if you guys have any other questions, now's the time. So while we've been doing that, whoa, we've been doing that. I have been fabricating a stat block for our JLTV that you guys can see right here. So I got my stats, my grid right here. So I'll put my stats in, and then I have my vehicle right here, and I'm going to plug in some stats in a second that I have written off to the side. Any word on the Ruin coffee, the real stuff? It's being worked on. We're talking to some people. It's being worked on. Samples are forthcoming. One Trick Pony. We need to make a Ruin patch. Yeah, I think I have those right around somewhere. Let's see. There's stuff everywhere. Is it there? No. But yeah. Look at downloads. Oh yeah, here we go. I got your thing right here. So you can actually find them on all the different associated sites. So there you go, bro. Sorry, dad joke. Punishment 90. I know that we have no idea what's going on down under, but I just want to suggest one thing: dinosaurs. I was thinking, and I'm not I'm not the end state for the Forgotten Ruin. I just periodically throw my military experience into the ring. But I was thinking big ass spiders, but that's just me. But yeah, dinosaurs could be cool, especially if they're all freaky and mutated. That'd be dope. All right, I'm gonna hang for about 4 more minutes, and then I am going to chop it down so that I can finish making my JLTV and get that out to people in an official looking. Is Black Rifle Coffee Company making that coffee? No. If you get with me on the Discord, send me a personal message. I can give you the companies that we're talking to right now, but we can definitely say that Black Rifle Coffee Company is not one of them. They have pretty much their own platform, and we don't know if what they have going on is going to be so prohibitively expensive to make a custom blend just for us that we don't want to we don't want to impose that cost on our customers. So yeah, all good. Is there a recommended Ranger to Indig ratio? No, absolutely not. In fact, there is a story that is going to be part of the side stories that will be coming out for Forgotten Ruin very, very soon. That talks about a military dog handler that gets separated from the main group of the Rangers and captured by the orcs. And in that story, it's all Indigs, and he's the only non-indigenous. In the game, we call them travelers, and then travelers and natives. So he's the only non-native to the Forgotten Ruin in the story. So it's just him. So there's no hard and fast rule for how many you need, or even if you need any. We ran a playtest game where it was all white box Swords of Wizardry white box characters that were just working with a group of rangers that came through, and it was a fun game. The role playing was like top notch, mismatched languages, and nobody could talk to each other. And then some magic came into it, and they were like, oh, "That's awesome! How'd you do that? We need to know how to do that so we can kill everything better." And the player characters saw the Rangers use a gun, and they were like, oh, "We need that because I'm a fighter from this tribe, and that's dope. I need that bang in my life." So, but yeah, Above the Universe is saying, got a crying, looks like sloth image right there. Oh, I'd buy it. We need to play test Kickstarter characters. What do you mean? Can you be more specific? Archangel saying, "Keep kicking ass, Walt." Well, it's not hard when I got 2 dogs on the leash that act like flying chainsaws. But I appreciate it. I really appreciate everybody's support. Everybody's been fantastic, coming out, repping the ruin, pushing our word out there. We got like crazy funding right off the bat, and even in the slow times, we're getting steadily more people repping the ruin. It's just really dope. GRG level. Can you be more specific? But yeah, it's been absolutely wonderful that you guys have been created this mini community around the Kickstarter and around Forgotten Ruin, and it's just awesome. Thanks, Punishment 90. I really appreciate that. I think the above means that characters we make for Alpha or Bravo backers. Yes. Yeah, we could play. So if you're in the Alpha or Bravo tier, so in the beginning of the Kickstarter, we had 10 slots for a character pack that we're going to be putting out. And that character pack would include some NPCs for you to use in the game as either allies or enemies. And we wanted to open that up to the community. So people in the beginning, there were 10 slots. And people are going to be able to create their own character for the character pack and decide how they're going to be used. Those 10 slots went like magic. They were just out the door really fast. So about a week went by, and we had a lot of requests to see that open back up again. So we did. We opened it up for another 10 slots, and those 10 slots also went very quickly within the day. Right now we have 20 characters that we're going to be statting out with those backers that own those tiers, and those characters will have complete stats. They will be in the character pack. They will have their own custom art, and sky's the limit as far as well, obviously depends on what you want to put in. I mean, if you want a Terminator or something like that, we'll put it in. But just so that you know, the rules of the ruin still apply. He'll be a Terminator for 2.4 weeks till his entire system breaks down and he falls over. So alpha number 2 here, baby. Let's go. Yes, sir. War weapons. Will all those sweet maps be made out of leather? Well, no. They will not be all made out of leather. However, if I can get to my desktop through all of the clutter that's currently here right now. So the same guy who is making our dice trays is a dude by the name of Ted Lehman. Ted is an extremely talented leather worker, and former member of the 82nd Airborne Riggers Corps. And he does amazing stuff with leather. Amazing. So this is the Forgotten Ruin map that he's done in leather. It is astounding because it looks like it looks exactly like it is. He also does these small journals where it's got the older Forgotten Ruin logo on it. It also comes with a Ranger tab in the top, Be Meaner in it, and then Nick Cole has his name on there. So yeah, so this stuff is amazing. If you like and you want something like that, let me know. I can put you in touch with Ted, and we'll get that done. Let's see. Go. Star Fox Hero. Did I do the thing where I walked right as we're wrapping up? Yes. Any bonuses from Rippets or Dip for soldiers, or giving any to the Indigs? Oh yeah. I'm building a dice tower. How can I get you one? Hit me up in the Discord. We'll talk. And so now we are going to be raiding into the Old Times Tavern. They're running a game right now, and I think they're playing Castles and Crusaders. Snoken, correct me, and Elbers and Ente. Tell me if I'm wrong. They're doing, I believe they're doing, Castles and Crusades tonight. If you've not listened to one of their games, they're just fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. So yeah, we're gonna raid into them. Raid old. But yeah, their games are fantastic. A lot of fun. They're going live right now. Yeah, they're playing Castles and Crusades. If you've never played Castles and Crusades, it's a lot like the rules that we have for Forgotten Ruin. So a lot of it's interchangeable, really. So yeah, you should definitely check that out. They're launching right now, and we're gonna raid into them. So, and yep, there we go. Hey, wanted to say thank you very much for everybody going out, and we'll probably do one of these again. New game coming up, playtest game. So pay attention to the updates. We'll catch you soon.